We are so grateful for your generosity. You have been generous throughout this time of pandemic, and you're continuing to extend your generosity during this time of uncertainty and war. Your generosity has really made it possible for us to innovate and to pivot and to find new ways to minister during these difficult times. There's so much that we have not been able to predict, and there's much that we can't predict ahead. But something we can predict is that MCCDC is going to continue to offer a voice of peace and a voice of hope, a voice of advocacy during the times that we are facing ahead of us. As part of that, we want to increase our ministry. So we have a ministry action plan for 2022 and the beginning of 2023 that we'll be voting on today at our congregational meeting. Increased ministry calls for increased support. And we're excited that the generosity journey is really something to embrace. It is something that is a part of what God is doing in the world, and we are grateful for it and for that opportunity.
Absolutely, Reverend Dwayne. And that ministry action plan that you talked about contains the narrative of what we're going to do, as well as the financial elements of how to accomplish those elements, the outreach and the in-reach. And because of that, and in conjunction with that, we have decided to put together a generosity leadership team. And during March 6th through April 24th, we are experiencing and going and participating in a generosity initiative. And that initiative is to bring focus to our ministry action plan in conjunction with our congregational meetings and forum, as well as to encourage people to think about and to pray about what God would do through them. And so you've been seeing in our e-blasts and our e-devotionals that prayer. You've seen it in the worship folder. We've been speaking it in service. The invitation for each of us to ask God to, what God is it you would want to do through me? We want to clothe our initiative here in prayer and then send each person to the God of their understanding to ask God what God would do through them. And so we have what we call the Giving River as a part of this initiative, just to get a little idea of where you might find yourself on your journey.
I love the imagery of this Giving River because it's not about guilt and shame and should. It's about flow. It's about being a part of this movement. That generosity never ends. It's not about a few weeks of an initiative. It's about a way of living that's about overflow. And in this river, there's various places in the river that we find ourselves, and Rev Cathy is going to describe some of the specific steps. One of those is around tithing. And where do I find myself in the river? Well, I sometimes like to joke that I came out of the womb with a Bible in one hand and a giving envelope in the other. I was brought up in a way of generosity and giving. My parents are pastors. I'm a pastor. And I'm learning that God has more for me beyond tithing and going deeper and deeper into this amazing overflow in this amazing river. So I'm praying about where God is leading me in the Giving River to be a part of God's generous flow in the world.
Absolutely, Reverend Dwayne. And I would encourage each of us to go to our YouTube channel. And we have had a testimonial by one of our generosity team members, Clara Carter, who describes in her testimony what we graphically represent here in this Giving River. And so, and I know that the graphic is maybe a little bit too small to see on your screen. We will be sending a brochure to everyone who is on our e-blast list that contains this graphic in a larger form. So you'll be able to review it for yourself with a few more words around what this is about and what we're talking about. To give you an idea, though, about this journey and this river, we take a look at first-time sustained giver, meaning this person is making a commitment to be a consistent giver. And then further along the river, A committed giver, someone who is giving a planned percentage of their income. Another type of giver is someone who is a growing giver and has determined to increase a percentage of their income to give to the church on a regular basis. And what Reverend Dwayne was just talking about, the tither contributor. Some people are comfortable with the language of tithing. Some people are comfortable with the language of contributor. This person begins to tithe and contribute a set amount on a consistent basis. And then also what Reverend Dwayne might did mention about the next move giver. This person is moving and giving beyond the tithe. All of this is clothed in prayer, and which is why we've been asking you to pray to God and to ask and to seek God. God, what is it you want to do through me? I would request, where do you find yourself on this giving river or your own giving river during this time?
As we all become a part of this, God's going to do amazing things through us. That prayer is transformative. I'm praying that prayer each day, not only about my giving, but also about various decisions or choices in the day. God, what do you want to do through me at this moment? And I'm thinking if we pray that collectively, God's going to continue to do incredible things through us. You'll be hearing more about the logistics and the approaches in the days ahead, a way for each one of us to do something. And everything that's offered is generous. Everything that's offered is so important to helping us continue to expand our ministries, especially during this time.
And so we say again, thank you. Thank you for the ways that you make ministry happen at MCCDC. You can send a check to 474 Ridge Street Northwest. You can go to mccdc.com/donate. You can take a look at our website and look at additional testimonials and ways that people have been impacted by the ministries of MCCDC. And for that, we say thank you.